BlazBlue is. I think BlazBlue itself is a cool game, and it was a cool IP. But that was another game that kind of like is pretty niche. A lot of times people thought of it as Guilty Gear's little brother. It didn't really get that much attention.
I released a list, or let's just say TVFGC released a list. Somebody, one of our random editors, I had nothing to do with this at all. Definitely released the top 10 fighting games of the last 15 years list. And starting at number 10, we had Street Fighter 6. Number 9, we had Granblue Fantasy versus Rising. Versus/Rising. We had Killer Instinct at 8. 7, Guilty Gear Strive. 6 is Mortal Kombat 9. 5 is Dragon Ball Fighters. 4 is King of Fighters 13. 3 is UMVC 3. 2 is either between Tekken Tag 2 or Tekken 7. And 1 is Smash Brothers Ultimate. Now, we already knew there was going to be beef with the number 1 pick. You say anything about Smash Brothers Ultimate and fighting games, people just somehow remember the passcode for an account they ain't been in for 10 years to come and say you a scrub. And then the MK9 pick, people go back and forth like, is it MK9, is it MKX, is it MK10? I mean, and I just see tonight it's just gonna be one of them nights. I just say MKX and then MK10. MK11, and people like Mr. GamerNLift might even say it's MK1. But so who really knows? But how do y'all feel about the list? Do y'all have your own top 10 fighting games in the last 15 years? How are y'all feeling about this? How did our random dude who worked for TVFGC that's not Rexonmax do with the list? Starting with you, Mr. GamerNLift.
I mean, I think like if we being honest, I think it's a pretty solid list for the most part. With Tekken, I just give it a Tekken 7 because I think the past Tekkens, it was the most like influential. It was like one of the most successful outside of like Tekken 8. Really brought a lot of life back into that scene, and people seem to really love the game. When it comes to Street Fighter, like we even mentioned before the podcast, I think Street Fighter 6 is like, it has to be on there. Like Street Fighter 6 is undoubtedly one of the best Street Fighters. I will say this, it will more than likely undoubtedly go down as one of the best Street Fighters, throughout history. I know somebody in the comments mentioned Street Fighter 4, but I mean it's just missed like the time frame. Because if not, I would have, put Street Fighter 4 over 6. But I mean, 6 it's a solid game. It's got its problems, got its issues, but it still has a pretty solid player base. People like the game. It's still getting updates. There's some weird stuff going on with like the DLC content with the characters. Sometimes we've been promised them at a certain time, they come out way later. And then of course we get characters that were in the previous games that are DLC. But I mean, that's happened in Tekken 2. So that's kind of a problem in like fighting games in general. Guilty Gear Strive, I know some people say Exarch or Rev 2. But I mean, Guilty Gear Strive, to me, I would put that one because I think that it kind of brought people together from different games, because this game was like a Guilty Gear game / Street Fighter game. So in the same vein that Granblue, I feel, is that type of game too. It's very like Street Fighter-esque, but it's also an anime game. I think that kind of drew people in from other crowds. And I mean, it was a successful game. It was a fun game. It looked great. It had some issues with tears at first, which every fighting game does. You can't have a fighting game without problems with characters and some characters being busted and stuff like that. So that just goes without saying.
You could arguably say Guilty Gear Strive saved the scene coming out of the pandemic. Some people would probably argue that.
That is a good point. It was a game that was around that time that kind of, came out and it, swinging full force. So that's a good point you just made there. Mortal Kombat, I would personally probably pick 9 just because, again, this was it revitalized Mortal Kombat. Like X didn't do that. X was a solid game, and I think gameplay wise, I kind of like X more. But MK9 to me felt like the old school, like MK2, MK3. It was the closest that we've had to MK2 and MK3 style of gameplay in a modern like package, and it revitalized Mortal Kombat. Because before then, I mean, what did we have? Mortal Kombat really wasn't hitting no much. You had MK versus DC, that was a failure. And the 3D games, the best one in the 3D games was Deception. So before that, you really didn't have much in terms of Mortal Kombat. And 9 legit, it had a lot of modes, a lot of content, a lot of characters. It was a solid game. There were some issues with DLC characters in that game too, being busted. But again, like I said earlier, that's just kind of a thing in fighting games now. We just have to kind of deal with it seems. I think the list is pretty solid. I mean, I don't think anybody, if you dispute Smash Bros. Ultimate, at this point, I think you just arguing for the sake of arguing. You just splitting hairs. It's like at this point, I accept it as a fighting game. I get it. It was a platform game fighter that wasn't specifically meant to be a traditional fighter, but it's in that vein, you know. So in Ultimate, it sold all the copies. People love the game. It's just, I feel like it should be up there. Marvel 3, I mean, there's nothing really needs to be said about that. That's undoubtedly one of the best games in the past 15 years. King of Fighters 13, what it was, just the hype of the game, the look of the game, which I wish we could get back to. Don't know if we will, but and then lastly, Dragon Ball Fighters. I mean, we all know what happened with that game. It came out and it was a smash hit. Had some problems near the ending of its lifespan, but when it first hit the scene, that game was it basically took Marvel's spot. So, yeah, I think it's a solid list. Honestly, I think most of the stuff on here it looks accurate, you know. But I mean, everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, this shouldn't be on there." So you can't please everybody, man.
Y'all got some BlazBlue critics, but I'm sure Amazing can speak a little bit to the anime game side. But on you, E.
Well, you know, I do agree with this list for the most part as well. I think in terms of like when you talk about Tekken, I would definitely go ahead and say, yeah, Tekken 7 instead of Tekken Tag. I like Tekken Tag Tournament 2 a lot. I think that game is amazing. But if we're talking about like success and like influence and like a game that really had people going to locals. I mean, people were like going in swarms to locals. I was one of them playing Tekken 7 around that time. And I mean, like when the game came out, when like the only thing was, man, I remember when they changed up Miguel's like savage stance down forward two. That always that still to this day kind of annoys me. But what are you gonna do? I agree with Mr. GameNLift about MK9. I would say that it definitely was. That was a game I think like that had a lot going for it, especially since like there was a low key retelling. Like even in like it was a retelling in some ways of like the older games like Mortal Kombat 1, Mortal Kombat 2, Mortal Kombat 3. Like you had like a bunch of like it was almost like a reboot of the series, like you know, at that point. And I loved it. I thought it was awesome. Yeah, I think I also agree that I think like if you're arguing about what's called Smash Brothers being on there, it's just like what are you even talking about, man? Are you even playing fighting games at this point? Like I don't know what is there to even argue about. Hmm, man, I really would like to put MKX because Ferritor, but it is what it is, man. Ultimate Marvel versus Capcom. I mean, that is just a solidified game that like kind of like, you know, like it's another game that kind of helped carry the FGC for a while, you know. One thing I will say though is that Guilty Gear Strive is maybe the most like successful Guilty Gear um of like of like the past few years. But I will say that unfortunately it is not the best Guilty Gear game of the past few years. I would definitely probably say like like Rev 2. I would say that game is definitely, in my opinion, better than Guilty Gear Strive, you know. But as far as like actual like impact and getting people to play the game and success and actually like people being like interested in the IP because it was a very niche game before then. Like it was a very niche game. I remember like I had never even heard of it when I mean me and my friends were playing that at like wrestling meets. Like we would go like we were waiting for our matches to start, and we would bring a CRT TV and set it up in a corner with a power strip and a PlayStation 2, and we'd be playing like Dragon Ball Z Budokai and Guilty Gear's X2. Those were the games we played. And yeah, man, that game was really niche. Nobody knew what the heck that was. And I feel like that was a kind of like it gained popularity, but now because of Strive, it's more in the spotlight now. Now people are going back and learning about like the older games, but it's only because of how popular Guilty Gear Strive was. So I would definitely put that up there. And of course, Granblue Fantasy Versus, that game, especially when they kind of re-released it. I think I was surprised that they even did that. I think Granblue is a fantastic game, a game that was kind of bogged down during its initial release because basically the pandemic started right after the game came out, and they hadn't really worked on their netcode like that. So it was kind of annoying to play, but it is a good game. It was a good game. It is a good game. So I think I think it's a pretty solid list, man. I think I agree with pretty much most of the stuff I see on the list, man. So yeah.
Yeah, so for the anonymous guy who made the list, I can tell you his thoughts behind it. You know, the
Give us
biggest
some insight.
one of the biggest things that people kind of seemingly had an issue with was just hey, there's no BlazBlue on the list. Um, you know, a lot of people say Cross Tag is like a really, really great game. Even though a lot of people have issues with that as far as like, DLC characters, how that was done and all that other stuff. I think it has one of the ugliest character select screens that you could ever lay your eyes on.
I'll agree with that.
So people had like some issues with it, but for the most part, a lot of people say it's a fantastic game when you play it. A lot of people brought up Central Fiction to me and stuff like that. But the thing about it is just when you start incorporating other things like impacting the scene, popularity, longevity, and all that other stuff, it's really kind of hard to like put in a lot of anime games, and that's why I really have a lot of respect for Granblue Fantasy Versus. And even and Rising, because when you look at that, Granblue is like consistently like you go have Street Fighter, then you go have Tekken, then you go have Guilty Gear, and then right there in fourth for the longest has consistently been Granblue. And that just really speaks to like that game because a lot of anime fighters really don't pull that off, you know. Um what else? When it came to, MK, of course, MK was the one that was, highly debated, X, is it 9, is it 11, whatever. But I think at the end of the day, if you put MK9 on the list, a lot of people can be like, I see why. Um of course, when it comes to, some people feel like Street Fighter wasn't supposed to be on the list. That is what it is. When you make lists like this, they're meant to be polarizing. I mean, you could
Right.
legit giving your personal opinion. You still know this is something that people are gonna get a hold to, and people are just gonna have a difference of opinion. There was literally one guy who just came out and said, like, man, like 90% of the games you have on this list is trash. I'm like, well, what you playing then, bro? If you saying
Yeah.
90% of the
What?
games on this list is trash, like what type of games you still playing? You still playing like Street Fighter 1? Like you I don't know if you made it to Street Fighter 2 yet? Like what games you talking about? But
Right.
yeah, so some people said, Killer Instinct was probably one of the games that could be replaced with some other stuff. Of course, Dragon Ball Fighters. I mean, we just know what that is. That's kind of one of them games. Like, what are we talking about? King of Fighters 13. Yeah, I just had to see the thing with Tekken Tag Tournament 2 and Tekken 7 was Tekken Tag Tournament 2 was a game that I just a beautiful, most like fun, amazing game. But when you talk about Tekken 7, like what Tekken 7 has done for Tekken, it's a reason like it went to be the top selling Tekken of all time. Even Harada and them was saying they were surprised that, they was like, we've been wanting to go on to Tekken 8, but y'all kept buying Tekken 7. Like, like y'all kept supporting it. Like, and then just how long, like, till Tekken 7, basically, it was never a point where Tekken 7 where people like, we ready, like, we just bring on Tekken 8. We ready for Tekken 8. This thing got boring. We tired of it. Like, Tekken 7 went out on a high note. Like people were still enjoying that game. So But yeah, I mean, that's all I got. I mean, hey, who am I to go against the person who made this list? They seem very knowledgeable, whoever it was. They seem like they know what they talking about. I wouldn't doubt their opinions and stuff like that. Me personally, for the anonymous writer. Yeah. So, anybody else got anything to add?
Yeah. About BlazBlue. But let's start with cross tag, man. You know, one of my issues with that game is that if you were somebody who played BlazBlue or you played Persona Mayonaka Arena and you were like, "Oh, I'm going to go play BlazBlue Cross Tag and I'm going to play the character that I played in those games in this game." Yeah, that's not really what you got when you played that game. Some of those characters were actually it's almost like the strivification in some ways of that game in terms of characters basically missing moves and moves not working quite the way they did in the other games and stuff. It was actually like the team I used was Hazama and Adachi. And I was very disappointed actually. One of the guys I know, Eisner, shout out to Eisner. He felt the same way. He was kind of like, "Yo, what they do to Adachi?" I was like, "Yeah, like I didn't like the way Adachi played in that game. I put it to you this way, even like it wasn't at Carmine, like I think that Carmine in that game from Under Night in Birth. Anytime I'm playing that game and I'm playing a character that I liked in that game, I have to be honest with you. All I'm doing is tolerating it. I'm just tolerating the character that I'm playing. I'm kind of enjoying it, but not. I'm just tolerating the version of the character that they put in the game. It was just kind of like, oh, okay, well, kind of this is kind of whack, man. Like, to be completely honest with you. So yeah, I mean, Blaze Blue. The thing about BlazBlue is, I think BlazBlue itself is a cool game and it was a cool IP, but that was another game that kind of like is pretty niche, another niche game that kind of never got the widespread acclaim that I think it really deserved, to be honest with you. I think a lot of times people thought of it as Guilty Gear's little brother for a
Yeah.
lot, and it didn't really get that much attention. I remember I played the game like I played Arakune. I thought I was gonna play Bang. I thought I was gonna play Ragna. We didn't really click with either of these characters. And I'm like, well, this black goopy character, he looks all right. And then it's like, oh yeah, by the way, that's one of the best characters in the game. I'm like, oh, okay. So yeah, I I liked playing Arakune. I thought that, I mean, you know, man, I would love to be able to put a game like Persona Mayonaka Arena on there or Ultimax on there, but that's the Persona series itself is like really popular. I mean, really, really popular now. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, back when
Yeah.
back when Persona 3 came out, I don't think anybody could have predicted that the popularity would explode the way it did. I mean, it was just the right combination of RPG mechanics and the whole like social link thing where you're going out and making friends and being a high school student, but also being like I don't know, like the I don't even know what you would call them. I mean, you would call it like the shadow hunter, I guess. Like you're just a shadow hunter. So that combination just seemed to work for a lot of people. And like now we got all these Persona games. We got the Persona fighting games that came out, and I thought they were pretty cool. But you know, definitely also another niche game, a niche game IP. So I don't know. There are a lot of like really cool. I'd love to put what's call it. I would love to see what do you call it? Under Night in Birth on a list like this, but also another really niche game. Like, I mean, it's I don't know if I would put it maybe in the top 20, but probably not the top 10. I don't think. Same with oh man, Melty Blood, like Melty Blood type Lumina game. I'd love to put in like one day Melty Blood and IP. I'd love to put in top 10. Can't do it. Why? Just too niche. Not niche enough. Didn't it just didn't pull the numbers that I would say that it's required to actually have that kind of that kind of acclaim. So anyway, I've been talking for a minute though, but yeah, that's I just wanted to make that
Custodian
point.
Awards, Melty Blood to get his recognition.
Yeah, right. Right.
Yeah. I
But
mean, if you were, I mean, if people want to make the case for BlazBlue, like I still just think it's. Do most people think BlazBlue is better than Guilty Gear? I think Guilty Gear. I think from my experience and what I've seen, I think I think it's more popular and people play it more. So it's like I get it because I played BlazBlue before. I think the one I played the most was I think it was either Chrono Phantasma or Central Fiction. Those were like the two I played. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's a solid game, but I just think Guilty Gear kind of beats it out. I mean, if you want to make the argument to replace Granblue with that game, I guess you could maybe do that.
Mm-mm.
But I still think even Granblue kind of has held more of a spot for like anime games for what it is. I know it also had trouble because it came out like in the pandemic times, so it has some issues. But they, you know, they not re-released, but they released Granblue Rising Versus, and that seems to do pretty well. And then, like Rexon said, it does still have a audience and a player base, you know, at these events and stuff. So I mean, I get it, but I mean, these lists you can't please everybody.
Yeah.
Killer Instinct, I think, should be on there. Just the fact that it's. I think that game is kind of like what Garo is now, even though I do think Killer Instinct is much more popular than Garo, but it's a game that hadn't been around for the longest since the 64. KI Gold was the last game that we had, and it came out in 2013 on the Xbox One. That game is hype. It's got dope characters. It had a lot of good DLC characters, just like in terms of like the variety. Like you have a Battletoad versus a Gears of War character versus a Halo character. I'm like, this is kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie.
Music was good too.
Good music, a good soundtrack. I mean, it's just hype. I mean, combo break, like it's just I just hearing
Yeah.
that, still hearing like combo break, like that stuff is just dope to me. So I think that I know right now people are waiting on another one, and I mean, unfortunately, we didn't get that. We got Invincible Versus, which looks like it could be promising. You know, I love Killer Instinct as an IP, and I wish that it would like get more of the respect and love it deserves. And hopefully, maybe once they're done with KI, not KI, Invincible Versus, that we'll get another KI. Because I think it's time. Like Xbox is weird. Xbox is in a weird spot right now, and it seems like they don't want a fighting game. You know, they don't want many fighting games. It's like, bro, you have one of the coldest fighting game IPs ever. Like, do something with it. So I think
Well,
it
let it
definitely
go.
deserves to be on that list. Yeah. And I mean, it even got revived back at Evo. Like people love the game so much they brought it back. Like that game is hype. People still playing this game to this day. The game came out in 2013 and people still playing the game to this day.
Did it freeze for all y'all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, did only my Discord blow up?
Nope.
But but I mean, I guess even Greg and Discord didn't want to hear what you were saying, Mr. Gamer. But
It's not, man.
but yeah, it was funny with that top 10 list. A dude like, oh, you just made a top 10. It froze again. You just you made a top 10. You just made a list of the highest grossing fighting games. I'm like, bro, only 3 of these games are in the top 20 best-selling fighting games of all time. What are you talking about? Like, I literally put Killer Instinct on there. What you highest grossing? What are you talking about?
It would just be talking, man.
But
BlazBlue was not, to my knowledge, not a high grossing game.
Yeah, so Tekken Tag Tournament 2, I fought for that, and that's the worst selling Tekken of all time. But you know, anyway.